So this question is a system of equations question. So system of equations is a concept that shows up quite often on the SAT. The things that I think about whenever I see them is, how am I going to answer this? How am I going to solve this system? I'm either going to use elimination or I'm going to use substitution to start. Substitution is typically the way to go whenever we have an isolated variable like we have here, right? I just have y equals the exact value, right? So I already know that y equals -3. So I can take that -3, plug it in here, right? Substitute this y and call it -3, and therefore end up with this new second equation that says -3 equals x squared plus 10x plus a. I can do that based upon using substitution. So the question here is saying, in the system of equations shown, a is a positive constant, okay? For which value of a does the system have exactly one distinct real solution? Okay, so that rings a bell for me. One distinct real solution. So there's a little trick that we learn in school that we learn in school where we use the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. And we can set that discriminant equal to a couple of things, right? So without going through a full review of this, if we only want one distinct real solution, the discriminant has to be equal to 0, right? Because if it's positive, it means something. It means there's two distinct real solutions. If it's negative, that means there aren't any real solutions. They're actually imaginary solutions. And if it equals 0, there's only one real solution. And all this, again, comes from this quadratic, right? X equals -b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, right? This portion in here is called the discriminant. And hopefully it makes sense why, if it's 0, you only get one answer. If it's positive, you'll get two answers. And if it's negative, you get two imaginary answers, right? You don't want a negative under the square root because that leads to imaginary. So what do we have here? My b in my equation, in fact, let me simplify this. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides here first, just to get this in the right format. So I'm left with x squared plus 10x plus a plus 3, which I'll group together as the constant, is equal to 0. So my b is 10, so b squared would be 100, minus 4, a is just 1, so that's nothing, and c is a plus 3, and again, I want that to be equal to 0. So I have 100 minus 4a minus 12 equals 0. I just distribute the -4 across. And 100 minus 12 is 88, so I have 88 minus 4a equals 0. I can then subtract 88 from both sides here. I have -4a equals -88. And I can then divide both sides by -4. Leaving me with a is equal to positive 22. So there is the answer, positive 22.